had to turn from a footballer to a ballet dancer and go tippy-tappy to keep your balance and control the ball and just get it away from the icy area.
Referee insisting on the 10-yard ruling. It's come to Alan Ball. Macdonald getting up!
Malcolm Macdonald's football career had all the hallmarks of an enduring legend. A prolific striker with an eye for goal and a larger-than-life personality, he was beloved by fans and respected by his peers.
You lived on goals, you thrived on scoring goals.
Macdonald coming in. That's it.
You used to have a go, you were not afraid to fail.
Macdonald with the chance to make it that. There it is.
You always said that you were a left back, is that right?
Stapleton on the near post. Macdonald!
Fantastic left foot. Not a bad right foot either. Good in the air.
But football, as with life, has a way of pulling the rug from under even the most confident feet. And for Macdonald, that moment arrived far too soon. At just 29 years old, his body betrayed him. A persistent knee injury forced him into early retirement, leaving behind a world where his name had once been synonymous with goals, glory, and adulation. What followed was a descent into pain, financial ruin, and self-destruction as he grappled with life beyond the pitch and the stark reality of losing the one thing that had defined him.
Into this game, Macdonald is away. Waldron is pulling him down. Still Macdonald, straight at the goalkeeper. Still Macdonald, and he scores!
Leaving football wasn't just about walking away from a game, it was about leaving behind an identity, a structure, and a support system that had cushioned him from life's harsher realities. As long as you're on the books at a football club, you're all right, Macdonald once reflected. Whatever the pain, there's a ready supply of drugs, so cost is not an issue. But once you come out of the protective sphere of football, you have to deal with the stark reality that the NHS isn't quite Arsenal Football Club. It's a common theme among former athletes, the sudden and often brutal shift from a world that revolves around them to one where they are, at best, a footnote. The physical pain was one thing, the emotional fallout was another. Macdonald had always been a fighter on the pitch, known for his tenacity and drive. But off it, the relentless gnawing agony in his knee proved an adversary like no other. It felt like a sledgehammer constantly hitting my brain, he admitted. At times I'd be watching television and realise tears of pain were streaming down my cheeks.
Got it away to Hibbert. Macdonald is on ahead. What a ball there by Hibbert. And away goes Macdonald again. And that's a magnificent goal!
Faced with limited options and even fewer answers, he turned to the one thing that offered temporary relief: alcohol. A bottle of whiskey a day became his makeshift painkiller, numbing not just the physical agony, but the creeping sense of loss and irrelevance that accompanied his retirement. It wasn't long before that coping mechanism became something far more destructive. During the early 1990s, Macdonald relocated to Italy, hoping for a fresh start and a chance to reinvent himself. He attempted to launch a business venture with tabloid magnate David Sullivan, but his timing couldn't have been worse. I returned from spending Christmas with my mother one year and found that the Italian government had closed the whole phone line industry down, he recalled. There was nothing I could do to regain my losses. In the blink of an eye, his financial security vanished. His marriage collapsed soon after, and once again, the bottle became his closest companion. With only £3,000 to his name, Macdonald returned to England in search of stability. A job with a radio station in Newcastle offered a lifeline, but by then, the drinking was entrenched. Then came the night in February 1997 that changed everything. Driving home, he noticed police cars trailing him. I was confident I'd passed the breathalyzer, he said. I hadn't touched a drink since the night before. But not only did I fail, I was 3 times over the limit. The fallout was swift and merciless. He lost his driving license for 2 years, his job at the radio station disappeared, and his name was splashed across the tabloids for all the wrong reasons. For someone who had once thrived in the public eye, the glare of this particular spotlight was unforgiving. The shame was suffocating, but more pressing was the realization that he had reached rock bottom. A visit to his doctor provided little comfort and plenty of cold, hard reality. "Malcolm, you have to stop drinking or you'll die," came the blunt warning. Yet even then, the path forward wasn't clear. The knee pain remained a constant presence, and without a solution for that, sobriety felt like an impossible task. And then, just when it seemed as though the story was set for an unhappy ending, an old friend stepped in. Mickey Burns, a former teammate, rang with a message that cut through the fog of self-pity and despair. "You've got a problem, Mac, but it's not the booze, it's your knee." It was a moment of clarity he hadn't expected. Someone who saw beyond the headlines and recognized the root cause of his self-destruction. Burns's company, working alongside the Professional Footballers Association, stepped in to help. They arranged for a much-needed knee operation, the cost of which, £12,000, was covered in full. The surgery itself was far from routine. Macdonald recalls the experience with a mix of disbelief and dark humour. "The surgeon said my bones were so hard that 2 blades buckled and came flying out of my knee. Both of them stuck in the ceiling, smoke billowing everywhere." The operation, filmed by a local TV station, became an unexpected spectacle, with the footage showing in all its gruesome glory. The public, who had followed his downfall with fascination, now watched his slow road to recovery. The weeks that followed were challenging. Sobriety, as it turned out, required more than just physical healing. It demanded a total re-evaluation of his life. "I missed the social aspect of drinking," he admitted. "Once I adjusted my mindset, it was fine. I realized how much of the day I had planned around the next drink." Slowly, the days became easier. He found new routines, new ways to fill the void that alcohol had once occupied. Today, Macdonald stands as a man who has weathered the storm and come out the other side with a new perspective. Back in Newcastle, he returned to radio, a familiar and comforting space where he could reconnect with the sport he loved, this time on his own terms. More importantly, he found stability in his personal life, thanks in no small part to his wife, Carol, whose support proved instrumental in his recovery. "I'm proud to say I haven't had a drink now for over 25 years, he says. It's a quiet statement, delivered without fanfare, but it carries the weight of years of struggle and resilience. Macdonald's story is one that resonates beyond football. It's a stark reminder of the fragility of success and the perils that await those unprepared for life after the final whistle. For many former players, the end of a career means the loss of structure, purpose, and identity. The injuries that were once manageable within the cocoon of professional sport become lifelong burdens. The adulation fades, the support network dissipates, and in its place is a world that often feels indifferent to their struggles. He has learned to accept his new reality, to navigate life without the crutch of alcohol, and to take pleasure in simple victories, whether that's being back on the airwaves, watching football without longing for the past, or simply waking up without the weight of yesterday's mistakes. There are, of course, moments of reflection, times when he wonders what might have been had his knee held up for just a few more years. But dwelling on the past serves no purpose, and Macdonald is the first to admit that his journey, though painful, has led him to a better place. "It doesn't worry me now if I'm watching people getting drunk, while I'm as sober as a judge. In fact, I've come to enjoy it." There's an undeniable irony in the fact that it took such a dramatic fall for Macdonald to find his footing again. Football gave him fame, fortune, and heartbreak in equal measure, but it was the simple act of a friend reaching out that set him on the path to redemption. And if there's one thing to take away from his story, it's that sometimes the biggest victories don't come on the pitch. They come in the quiet moments, in the decision to keep going when everything feels lost, and in the realization that life, no matter how painful, goes on.
I think it was who went on the overlap, and Trevor knocked a great ball across to the far post. Thank you very much. And that was my hat-trick. And at the end of it, I waved to the Newcastle fans, I waved to the Arsenal fans, I got an equal response.